Hello, my name is Christina Schlitt, and I'm co-president of the League of Women Voters of Michigan. Thank you for volunteering for this important project of collecting signatures for the Promote the Vote 2022 ballot petition. This is a constitutional ballot petition, so it will require more valid signatures than just a legislative petition. We require 425,059 valid signatures by the beginning of July. Now, we do have an organizational structure in place to accomplish this project. We will have regional organizers, which will be the local league presidents or their designee. We will have team leaders, and then we have circulators. We will be reporting to the organizers from the state, who will then in turn have meetings with team leaders, who will then have meetings with circulators. And we will ask you to communicate conversely. Circulators, please let your team leaders know what you need. They will give you petitions, and then team leaders will let the organizers know. And plan to have regular meetings, at least with the organizers, to update them on any progress. Now, Pat Buckner from the Oakland Area League and I will be organizing this program. And just to let you know, this video is for league members only and for volunteers with the league, primarily because we were talking about specifics that to the league. We are working with other organizations to achieve this goal of 425,000 plus signatures. So when you're out there and you see others, just say hi there. We will be providing you with talking points so that when potential signers come to you and ask questions, you will have the information. We will also be providing you with frequently asked questions, and you can use this video as a reference or a refresher as you go out to collect signatures. We do have the petitions available now. Some of you may have known the first round had to be destroyed to make sure that the wording was proper and that we didn't have to have it challenged in, later on. So here we go, and we're ready to start now. I would like to introduce the following presentation by Talyce Murray, who is the Promote the Vote 2022 Deputy Campaign Manager, and our own Pat Buckner. They will take you through the details of the petition, what you need to think about, and there will be questions at the end that may also be helpful to you. So with that, thank you for all of your help, and here we go.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being willing and joining the signature collection phase of Promote the Vote 2022 to help us get on the ballot. As many of you know, we need to collect 425,000 valid signatures before June 30th. And so we have a tall order, and I'm excited that you all will be working with us to help reach that. So I know a good number of you have, worked and participated in 2018 or have done other petition circulations. And so I'm going to walk through it. I'm going to every few minutes see if Pat has anything that she wants to interject. And really, I'm going to lean on you all to ask the questions that you need at the end. And I'm happy to stay on as long as needed to make sure everyone feels prepared and ready to go into the field. Okay. So first, this is just an overview of the 10 aspects of the petition. So while we know it's a voting rights initiative and it's to make sure that our election systems and voting in Michigan is for all of us, it directly impacts 10 different aspects. So the one is the fundamental right to vote without harassment or fear. Requiring that military and overseas ballots be counted if postmarked by Election Day. Provide voters voter right to verify identity with a photo ID and a signed statement. And here what I will say is this is codifying a current law that has been in place for over 20 years in Michigan into the Constitution. And so this is not changing anything with the voter ID law. Provide voters the right to a single application to vote absentee in all elections. Require state-funded postage for absentee applications and ballots. Require state-funded absentee ballot drop boxes. Provide that only election officials may conduct post-election audits. Require 9 days of early in-person voting. So on top of absentee, on top of drop boxes, it's expanding to ensure that people have those 9 days of actually putting their petition in the machine, in the tabulator. Allow donations to fund elections, which must be disclosed, and require canvass boards to certify elections based on only the official records of votes cast. And this is also what you'll see at the very top of the petition. Okay, so
I just wanted to add one thing. Sorry, Talyce. This is a constitutional amendment, the Michigan constitutional amendment. So it will, all of this, you're hearing about legislation that is out there trying to suppress the vote. This will override it. This will nullify it. Just want to make that point.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. Great point, Pat. So the eligibility for circulators. You must be 18 years of age on or before the first day of signature collection. You must be a US citizen and you must be a registered voter. If you are registered in a different state, there will be an extra step that you have to take on each petition form, but it's very simple. It's just a checkbox and we'll get into that in a little bit. So the baseline expectations. This is really just what we want to know and what we want you all to be kind of functioning over. So while we do need that 425,000 valid signatures, we also want to make sure that ensuring each signature is valid, right? So making sure that we're taking the time to walk our community members through, make sure you use the address that you are registered to vote at, because some people are registered at a different address than they are currently living in. This can be for a variety of reasons, ranging from student status to domestic violence status to displacement to whatever. There are a series of reasons that people will be living in a different place than they are registered. And so we want to make sure we are clearly stating the address you put on there has to be the address that you are registered to vote at. Also making sure that people know that their signature needs to match what's on the voter file, right? So if someone's gotten married, I'll tell you this right here. My mom got married, changed her name and everything, but was still signing with her maiden name because that was the one that she had used for 30 years. And that was just what was, super common and just instant to write with. Well, that was not the signature that she had on file with the voter file. So reminding people what you use at the Secretary of State, what you use when you register to vote, that's the signature that you have to use. Returning all petitions to your host organization within the allotted time. So we don't want an excess number of petitions with signatures on them to just be held, right, in various locations for acts of God, for in case we misplace them. Once a petition has a signature on it, they are like gold, and they also have people's private information on it. So we want to ensure that we are returning those to your organization leaders within that allotted time. And I know that Pat and Christina also walked through that with you all as well. Remember that you are ambassadors of not only the league, but also Promote the Vote 2022. And so just be kind to potential signers, knowing the basic information and protecting the security of their information. Anything you want to add, Pat?
Yeah, and one more thing about being ambassadors of both the league and Promote the Vote. We ask that you do not talk about any political party or any candidate. You don't need to bring any of that up. I had someone, when I was holding the petitions, trying to get signatures, someone said to me, well, who did you vote for? And we told everybody, just your response should be, that's not what this is about. This is a petition to support voting rights so that everybody has a voice in their government. Just keep it very neutral like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
before you head into the field, right, we want to make sure you're able to answer those questions that community members may have. So, you know, familiarize yourself with the resources that Pat and Christina and Paula sends you. We're going to have FAQs for you. You know, get familiar with that information. Remember, once, and I know you all know this, once you start a conversation with a potential signer, you have about 5 to 10 seconds to keep their attention. People will know if they're going to sign in that 5 to 10 second window. So have your pitch ready, know what you're going to lead with, and be able to, you know, hold that conversation for that 5 to 10 seconds. Know what the petition look like. Know where the name, the signature, the address, the dates boxes are, so you can walk them through that very, very easily. And also always communicate with your supervisors, with your managers, with the league, because if something comes up and something is different on any given day, they're the ones that are going to know it, and they're going to be able to make sure that you have all the information needed.
And I just want to add that, oh, go ahead. So when you, in that pitch, in the 5 to 10 seconds, we're asking you to say, hello, I'm from the League of Women Voters. Because everybody knows the League of Women Voters. Right away, you're telling them it's nonpartisan, it's important, it's not a frivolous thing. It's a very good start to your pitch. So. Absolutely.
All right, just some reminders. Black or blue pens are the only pens that can be used for petitions. I know, I'll be honest, all of my pens are every color but black and blue. None of those are able to be used on a petition. They have to be black or blue. One thing that we all learned, you know, clips to hold the petitions in place while someone's writing, so they're not battling the wind to keep them down. You're always going to need more petition sheets than you expect because of the counties, right? You go to an event and next thing you know, you have someone from a county you've quite literally never heard of and they're ready to sign. You don't want to turn them away because you don't have enough petition sheets. And you also want to have your information to give out to people, whether it's the website or it's actually the flyer, to be able to give potential signers. Anything, Pat?
Yeah, not black and blue pens, no pencils, no felt tip pens, yep. Nothing like that. No Sharpies, just black or blue pens.
Absolutely. All right, you have, as a circulator, you have a set of rights guaranteed to you. And I want you to be confident in those rights. So you have the right to collect signatures in public areas and on the sidewalk. The one thing you cannot do is block or impede traffic, right? So you can't stand in front of someone's business door. You cannot make it so they cannot walk through a sidewalk. And my request to everyone is that we ensure that we are also following ADA protocol. So we want to make sure that people with wheelchairs are still able to get through the areas that we are in. We do not want to make it where our presence is rendering a place non-ADA compliant. If you are asked to leave a public place where you are allowed to be, you should ask for the reason and the ordinance why you're being asked to leave. Because oftentimes there is no bearing as to why you're being asked to leave. If it comes to it, please note the name and location of who is asking you to leave and send that to leadership. They will elevate that to us, and so that we all know what's going on in the field. And then ask your leadership what to do next. You know, sometimes it'll just be go to a different location, or we're going to come out and support. Whatever your leadership says is the next steps, go with that. But make sure you note down that name and location, right? So if it's Sally Mae at the Purple and Blue Library said this, that's information that's important. And here's a little diagram. We're still in right. Here's a little diagram that shows where you can stand, right? Here's the sidewalk for the library, but this right here is the entryway. So we don't want to block the entryway, but you can stand on the sidewalk. Pat?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that in one of the times, actually it was my very first day collecting signatures, and I went to a little farmer's market in a little town, and I thought, oh great, it was like on the public street. And I thought, okay, good, I can walk through and get signatures from all these people. And the organizer came up to me and said, no, you can't do that. So even though it was on a public street and it was a public sidewalk, it was condoned by the town and run by the town. So you had to follow the rules. So she said I could stand just on the outside of it and get signatures. And she actually said, I'll sign it because I agree with it. I just have to go by the rules. So I think, you find out that most people are pleasant, just follow the rules and be pleasant and smile. And yeah, I got a lot of signatures that day. So.
All right. So once again, remember how I said that petitions are like gold. They are cash once there's a signature on it. So we do never ever leave them unattended in a public place. So, if you are at an art fair or wherever, and you have a table, you can't just leave them on the table and go and walk away. You also don't want to just leave them in your car. So I want to remind people one of the things. People's addresses are on these files, on these petitions. You don't want everyone knowing your address. So assume that other people do not want everyone to have their address. They are trusting you with their private information because they support this initiative in this petition. We do not want to have that spreading around. You must witness each and every signature. So you can't just leave it and then, go and talk to your friend or go walk through the farmer's market and come back and there's 10 signatures and say that's good. You have to watch each and every signature be signed. Once again, black or blue pens only. And only registered Michigan voters may sign the petition, and you can only sign once. And here's two things that's important. One, you cannot sign for another person. That includes spouses, parents, sister, whoever. You can only sign for yourself. Two, that's my cat food feeder. Two, we have online voter registration. So if someone is not a registered voter, but they want to sign the petition, they can register online right there standing with you and then sign the petition right after. Your registration is immediately effective. So they have to be a registered voter, but if they say that they're not registered and they've been meaning to, or, that they just have never gotten around to it, you can register them right there online and then they can sign the petition. You can assist signers with disabilities in every field but the signature. And that is true with their companion. They have to sign the petition. So tips for easy collection. Have multiple prepared petitions, right? So that means checking those boxes. We're gonna walk over what those boxes are in a little bit, but having petitions prepared so that they can sign on the one for their county. Every signer has to sign the petition for their respective county where they are registered. So we want to make sure we have enough, and we want to make sure if someone doesn't know their county, they can look it up. They can go on mi.gov/vote and they can find out where they are registered to make sure that they're signing for the proper county and with the proper address. Always have two. If you're going to a big volume area, having two services allows us to prevent long waits and for people to sign while you're still walking someone else through it. And then make sure you have enough resources. People want to, be able to take things with them or want to be able to ask questions. And so making sure you have enough of those is really important. Now, we're walking through common mistakes made by signers. And these are things that you, as a circulator, can help with. The end of the petition asks for a date. It is the date of the signature, not the date of birth. It is the most common mistake that is made on petitions. Anything that is not 2022 is very clearly the wrong date. So always the number one way to do it is back to when I said, know the petition, right? So if you go through and say you need to put your name here, sign here, address, and today's date, and you say today's date is March 23rd, then people know, okay, I'm putting today, not my birthday. Because what are we all used to doing when we have to put out our name and address? You plop your birthday at the end of that. So by saying the date, by saying today's date, it signals to them, oh, no, I have to put this. People will use their mailing address where they are versus where they're registered. And so making sure you remind people, this is where you are registered. Where did you last vote? Where did you last register to vote? That's where you have to put on here. If there is a mistake made, you have to draw a line through it. and then start on the next one. So there is no, oh, I'm going to scribble through and try to fit it in the box next to it or whatever. You have to fully strike through it and start on the next line. And then common mistakes made by circulators. Not marking this top box, and we're going to get a larger grab of this in a second. You have to mark this top box every time. This bottom part, that's where you sign. Now, you cannot sign this bottom part until the very last signature is collected. The date that is on here is the date that these have to stop. So if you put today's date and then you go get signature number 10 tomorrow, signature number 10 is invalid because it was after you signed the affidavit. If you are not a registered Michigan voter, you have to mark this. And if you don't, this petition is invalid. You also must, if someone asks, give them the option to read the top of this petition, this 150 word box right here that walks through what the petition is. This is right here, this outlines all the spaces that needs to be filled out. And so up here, this is where you have to mark before starting to collect petitions, where it says paid signature gatherer or volunteer signature gatherer. I'm guessing everyone knows which one they are. You're not getting paid to collect signatures. You are the volunteer signature collector. You have to mark that fully in. You know, I'm the kind of person I put X's in boxes. You cannot do that here. You have to just fill in the box. Also, down here, this is another place where you're filling it in. You have to put your voter address here. You have, and this is your signature that's on file, your voter address is on file, and the date that you finished collecting signatures. This right here is where we are going to put the county. And I saw a question in the chat, I'm going to answer it. So if I put Wayne County here, only people who live in Wayne County or who are registered in Wayne County can sign this petition. If someone comes up and says, I live in Bloomfield Hills, that is Oakland County, they need a different petition sheet. So only voter registration addresses that are within the county that you put right here can be on that sheet, even if they're in a group together. So if, you know, I have something that's from Wayne County and then I have two people that walk up and say, I live in Oakland, I live in Washington, I now need to get two new sheets, one for Oakland, one for Washington. Remember when I said if you are not a registered Michigan voter, you have to do a little extra step? That's this box right here. So if you are registered somewhere else, you have to fill in this box every single petition sheet that you carry, every single one, even if there's just one signature on it, that needs to be carried. I highlighted these two spots right here because this is typically where we see the most contention. Remember that people have to put their voter registration address here. Oh, there's my cat. And they have to put the date of signing, right? And it also goes month, day, year. They have to put in the full 2022 and make sure you say, you know, March 23rd, 2022, because we have caught a lot of, not a lot, but a good number of people who will put the day, the month, and the year. And that works really fun. That works and looks cute until you have under the month 23. There are no 23 months and it instantly becomes an invalid signature. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, please explain the city township column. Okay, let me share it again.
Okay, when you're ready, I will address the questions to you, Talyce, and to Pat that are in the chat.
Okay, so right here, this is the city you live in. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys where I live. So I live in Lansing, Michigan on Verlinden Avenue. So my street right here is Verlinden Avenue. And then I put Lansing here. And then I put the zip code here. So if you live in Ann Arbor Township, this goes here. If you live in Detroit, Michigan, it goes here. It is your city and township goes here, not in this part right here. This is the street address. This is the numbers and the street you live on. Okay.
So, Talyce, one thing we ran into in that city township thing was people would not know if they were a city, a village, a township. Like I live in Highland Township. And what we were told was just put Highland.
Yeah.
You know, and that'll be acceptable if you don't know.
Okay, let's go to the chat questions. I'll read them to you. In regards to valid signatures, is there a way to confirm signatures to thwart intentional sabotage of the petition form?
When you, what I'm guessing you mean is someone intentionally putting false information. And let me tell you, one of the things that we are doing is we are collecting more than the required number of signatures. So we will be collecting about 175,000 additional signatures that are required to compensate for that. It is not, I do not want you all to be in the field challenging or questioning if someone is being sincere or not. It can be off-putting to actual sincere potential signers. It can put you at risk, and it is also just not worth it. It is not worth it. If someone has ill intentions, let that happen, and we will catch that on the validity side. But I appreciate that. But no, it's fine. If you think someone's being, ill intention, take that and just let them carry it on and then move on.
Does one bad signature negate the whole petition?
No. Nope.
Okay, you do not have to have a full page of signatures to return a petition, correct?
No. Obviously, if it's a major county, we want to try to make sure we fill up all the petitions if we can. But if you are, I'm going to use Pat's, micro circulating, and you're going to your friends and your children and grandchildren and hairstylists, and then you get to a sheet and you only have like 5 out of 10, that is fine. Send those in. You don't have to say, well, I can't get all 10, so I'm not going to do them. You can turn in partial sheets, but we want to actively try to make sure in those major areas that we are filling the sheets as much as we can.
Thank you. If a person is not sure how they sign their voter registration form or the address they used, how should we direct them?
If someone doesn't know which address they use when they register to vote, send them to mi.gov/vote.
This one I can answer. Should we wear league name tags? Yes. If you have to print the logo on a piece of paper and pin it to your shirt, if you don't have a league tag, please do that. Here's another one. Where do we get flyers to hand out?
You're going to get that flyer from Christina, Pat, and Paula.
Next week?
Yes. Well,
yeah.
You guys are going to get that from me, and then it is up to you 3 to decide when and how to distribute it to them. So, but you guys will get the resources from me.
Okay.
Okay. I think you covered this, but it's worth drawing attention to it again. Can you use felt tip pens, or should they be pens only?
No. Felt tip pens are not eligible to be used on the petition sheets.
Yep.
Okay, here's another question. Have other organizations already started collecting signatures?
Yes.
Please confirm the size of the paper of the petition. Is there a copy of the handout we can see tonight? The only available handouts we have right now is what we attached to the email today. The balance will be sent to you as soon as we receive them. And it should be in plenty of time before you go out. We're planning to go out April 1st. Okay. Another question, can I sign one of the petitions I circulate and sign as circulator?
No. It's the same thing like a notary. Even if you are a notary, you cannot notarize your own things.
Okay, here's another one. Can you collect signatures from people who do not live in the county where the circulator lives, as long as each county is on a separate petition sheet?
Absolutely. Do you know how
Yeah.
hard it would be if we only could collect in our county? Oh my, so absolutely. You can collect for any, I think it's 110. Don't quote me on that. Any of the counties, as long as that each county has their own petition, you are golden. You can collect for any county.
Great.
Okay, I believe you addressed this one. Please explain the city township column.
Yeah, that's just the city. You know, when you're writing your address on a piece of mail, what do you put at the bottom? The city, township, wherever. What do you put there? That's what you put in that box.
Can people sign more than one voting petition?
Yes. So this is a crowded petition field. We have a slew of them, from criminal justice to reproductive rights to fair lending to promote the voting rights. People can sign they can sign multiple petitions. They can only sign each petition once. So you can't sign promote the vote 3 times, but you can sign 3 different petitions.
Are you allowed to highlight anything like where the county name is, or word, state, or signing?
Please do not modify the petition.
But please point that out to people as they're signing.
So I'm going to use my thing right here. One of the things you can do is say, your name goes here, your signature goes here, address, township, today's date, March 23rd, 2022. But do not mark up. This is not a petition, by the way. Do not mark up the actual petition.
Okay. We have a question here. Can I have people sign this coming Sunday? I will be with relatives. If we get the petitions to you, absolutely. Here's another one. Can March, for example, be written as 03, or must the word March be written?
03 is perfectly fine. So 03 or the word March.
Okay, my circulation leader for Promote the Vote petition is with VMP, as well as an Ann Arbor Indivisible. So who am I representing? I will answer this one. If you are on this tonight and you are going out as a league member, you are representing the League of Women Voters. Okay, here's another one. If someone signs 2 petitions and does not remember if signed, will both signatures be thrown out?
Yes.
If someone signed this petition and reproductive justice, they will both be valid.
No, I think she meant the same petition. Like if you sign promote the vote twice, both signatures will be taken off.
That is a question that is with our attorneys, and I will get back to you on that.
Yeah, I looked it up. I checked on it, and it's true. You checked on that too, didn't you, Christina?
I did not check on that. That was a question I had as well.
Yeah, I checked, and our state law is if somebody signs the same petition twice, they're both taken off.
A question I could probably answer. Is there any coordinating of efforts so we don't try to collect in an area already visited by another organization?
So, 2 things. I'm a big farmers market fan. Farmers market happens every week, sometimes multiple times a week. Just because, you know, I in my purple hat went on, you know, week number 1, and then Pat went next week on in the purple hat in week number 2, does not mean we're going to be touching the same people. So there's always space for people to go back and go to the same areas.
Yeah.
Also, for large events, there's a lot of people there. So there is enough people to be able, if we have multiple organizations collecting, that we actually will be able to reach more people. Now, if there are smaller events, And I know that an organization is doing that. We may begin coordination, but right now it is not a big concern about having multiple organizations at one location.
Thank you. I can answer this one. Where do we get league name tags? Please go to your local league president or unit leader. And if they can answer you, have them contact me. Here's another one. I don't believe the question was answered as to how someone verifies how they signed for the Secretary of State, how they registered.
It's on their ID.
Yep, check your voter ID card. Should drawing a line through a signature address date that the signer made a mistake and let us know, is that okay?
Yep, so if someone makes a mistake on any aspect of it, draw a line through it and have them go to the next line.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what this means, but perhaps you may know. Can you repeat that about 3 petitions?
Yes, so you can sign as many petitions as you want. You cannot sign the same petition. So someone can sign promote the vote, reproductive justice, and criminal justice. That's 3 signatures, but they cannot give 3 signatures to promote the vote. They can only sign that one once.
Okay, here's another one, and we will have a statement for you. What do you say if someone wants you to differentiate the 3 different voting petitions? We're going to have one message. We are only out there for PTV 2022.
I see one right here. For if your mailing address is Kalamazoo, but you're registered to a township that I cannot say, you put the township. But the quickest answer for most people in the state of Michigan will be what's on their mailing address. You know, like what's on when they write their registration, when their registration address, when they write it all out, what is the city township that they put on that bottom? For some people, when you write it on the bottom, write it all the way out, it is different. So it is what you put on the voter registration document. That can be checked at mi.gov/vote if you are not sure. But a simple way for most people is when you write the entire address out, what do you put in the bottom?
Okay. Our petitions sent to us email or the physical copy. You will receive a physical copy that will be numbered and we will track them. Here's another one. I have been collecting signatures for another petition and had at least 2 people telling me that they use initials for their legal voting signature. Whoops, sorry.
So someone says that they
That's
use.
strange. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So they're saying that they used, when they signed, an initial, then that's what they need to do. That is actually how mine is. Mine is a T with a bunch of scribbles and then a big Y. And so that's how I have to sign when I do it. That is true for a good number of people. They just use their initial. Whatever they use when they register to vote is what they have to use on the petition. And if someone's telling you that, they probably know, because they've probably run into the same issue of someone saying, no, you have to write your whole name out. And they're like, no, that's not what I used. So trust them. Let go with what they're saying. And so that is probably what they're using.
And there's another one that says, can we print our own petitions? Nope. Here's another one. Will PTV be checking the signatures though? So double signatures should be caught?
We will have a quality control process and a validity rate process. So we will be able to keep track of that. Yes.
Here's another one. Does our league give us set places to go or pair them up with other volunteers? Your organizer and team leader, this might be a good opportunity to remind everyone. Circulators report to team leaders. Team leaders report to the league or regional organizer. and they should help coordinate where you will go to gather signatures. Live near Dearborn Heights. HTS is an official postal abbreviation. I was told that Heights cannot be abbreviated. Is that true?
No avenues, no AVE, no ST, no any of them. Spell them out.
Should I give street name to include street, lane, drive, etc.?
Was that different from the first question?
It was, I think it was the second part of that question.
Yeah. So spell them out.
Okay, here's another one. Do you keep track of the geography where the signatures are coming in from so we can travel to underserved areas?
Not that will be public. So there may be a time where I let Pat and Christina know, like, oh, there are some areas, and they can filter that down, but there will not be a public map available.
Okay, we can help out when we get the information. Here's another question. Is there any problem with us paying a fee to be an event? I know we would have to file an in-kind expense report.
That needs to be approved by Pat and Christina before any payments are made. That needs to be approved by Pat and Christina. They will talk to me about each individual thing.
Okay, here's another one. Should we ask everyone if they've already signed the petition?
So in my experience, this is usually what's going to happen. If someone's already signed it, they're going to kind of say, I can't remember if I signed this already or not. Or they'll say, I think I've seen this before. That's when you ask. That's when you let them know. For most people, they will let you know if they think they might have already signed it. So you don't, I mean, if it makes you feel better, you can go ahead and ask everyone, but typically people will let you know. So I don't think it's necessary to ask each and every individual person if they've already signed. The voter registration online where at mi.gov/vote will not show your signature. That is correct. You will either have to look on your voter ID that you were sent when you registered, or you will, most of the time it's the same signature that we all use. So that is something that you will have to know. It is not going to be accessible online. They do not have a picture of it.
Okay. What about paying parking when collecting signatures? Do we need to report that expense? That should be reported in kind at www.ptv2022.com. The bottom of that website, there's an in-kind report sheet. For those of you who were not on the call last night, the State League will reimburse you for postage. We were directing you to go to the in-kind form for clipboards, for pens, for parking, for any of those incidentals. We will not be able to reimburse you for those expenses. Okay. Someone said, I just looked up my registration. It does not show how my name is listed. So if someone is not sure how they registered and they do not have their voter registration card, how can they find out how they were registered? You mean the signet? Yeah, they can go to the michigan.gov/vote and check your registration.
Yep, the address, and all of that will be listed on the mi.gov/vote website. The signature will not.
Yeah, the signature will not, but what street and what name, how you cite or registered your name. Here's a good suggestion. Before paying for anything, contact your team leader.
Always.
Yeah.
We will be, for those of you who were not on last night, Pat and I will be holding bi-weekly meetings with team leaders and organizers. following the meeting that we will have bi-weekly with Talyce. So if there are questions or comments or things that are coming up, we will be able to share them with you from Talyce. And conversely, we will be able to share what you have back with the larger group.
Mhm.
Here's another one. My driver's license has RD, not road. Can I use RD when I sign a petition?
Please spell it out.
Here's another one. Sometimes I use my middle initial and sometimes I don't. Michigan.gov/vote doesn't clarify.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say this about all of the semantics with this. There will always be situations, use your best judgment. 9 times out of 10 people know what they used. And go with that. Use your best judgment on your signature and tell people that is the one you use. What is the one you use most commonly? What is the one that you use when you were, getting your ID? Those are the ones. There's going to be a lot of, possibilities, but we're going to go with our best judgment here.
Christina, can I mention something?
Yes, go right ahead, Paul.
Somebody asked about where they can get buttons and other league paraphernalia. The National League doesn't sell that stuff anymore, but if you just Google LWV buttons, you can pull up a lot of states that sell this stuff. So just do that and you may find a lot of stuff online. Also, the name badges that a lot of us around the league use can be found under member resources on our LWVMI.org website. I would strongly advise you to get a bunch of people ordering at the same time, because if you order one of those, the shipping is almost going to be more than one league badge. So please order a bunch of them at once.
Okay, thank you, Paula.
Good to know.
Question here asking me to go over how we'll be rolling this out. Will petitions be sent to each league? It sounds like the website will have more info soon. Will there be pointers for new gatherers on the website? We have the petitions and we will be mailing them to all of the league organizers in the next few days. And when you have them, we will be tracking them by number, and the organizer will hand them to their team leaders. The team leaders will also track the numbers that they hand to the circulators. We will not have necessarily on the website information for new circulators. We would want them to go through the organization chain to make sure that we have people that our league knows, either our league members or volunteers. And always check with your team leader or your organizer, because as I said, Pat and I will be having bi-weekly meetings following the campaign bi-weekly meetings. Talyce will be holding PTV 2022 campaign bi-weekly meetings, and we will follow. So we will be able to get information. If you have a new circulator, you need to send that information to Pat and I so we can keep the records as necessary.
In the coming days and weeks, will continue to have new resources for you in the field. Those will be sent to Christina and Pat, and then Pat and Christina will send them to you all. There is no Google file or Google document that you all should be accessing. Those will all come directly to you from Pat and Christina.
Yeah. And the website that everyone has been referring to tonight is not the state league website. It's ptv2022.com.
Actually, it's Promote the Vote 2022.
Promote the Vote 2022.com. It's not our League of Women Voters website.
Okay, we're going to take one more question, and then we'll give final comments to Talyce and/or Pat. It says, when is the deadline to get our petitions to our team leader? We are asking team leaders to turn in their petitions to the organizers, and we're asking the organizers to mail them back to the control center weekly.
I will say, if you have a petition that is half filled, that you know within the next few days you will be able to fill, keep it. If it is for a county that you do not think you're going to be able to fill, send it back in that weekly. But we want to, if it's Wayne County and you know, oh, tomorrow I'm going to an event, or on Sunday I'm going to an event, keep it so that you can fill complete that form and then send it back.
Yeah. And then the last question here is, we need to use only league approved resources. Absolutely. When you represent the league, we speak with one voice and we use only the materials that the league provides for you. Communication is open. Don't hesitate to email me and Pat and Paula, and we will answer your questions just as fast as we can. With that, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Talyce, do you have any final comments?
No, thank you all for the great questions. I really appreciate the engagement. And I'm excited for everyone to get out into the field.
Pat, any final comments?
Just one thing is, we talked about regional organizers, and we are going to be meeting with Talyce bi-weekly. I just think team leaders, it would be a good idea for you to meet with your circulators just periodically to give them materials and collect your petitions, but also just to share tips and things that happened and how you resolved it. We did that a lot, and it was really good for morale and camaraderie, and I would suggest doing that.
So thank you, everyone, and a particular thank you to Talyce for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. And Pat and Paula,
Thank you.
have a good evening.